What happens when you stop postponing your dreams and start building them? We're about to find out. It's month 1 of our 1-year experiment, and it was way harder than expected. So I called someone who honestly might be one of the best people I've ever met. That conversation changed me, and I think it might change you too. This episode is about how to keep going when things get really tough. Somewhere along the way, I even made the experiment bigger. Oh, and I kind of messed up the interview, but you'll see. Welcome to the second episode of Dreambuilder Diaries. For 1 year, we're committing to 12 monthly pacts to find out what happens when we stop waiting on our dreams and start building them. My dream? To become an author. We've got 12 months left. And by the way, hi, I'm Svenny, like Sven from Frozen, but with an I. Chapter 2. Miles, Missions, Mess. So today's the first day of our first pact, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel ready. The pact sounded simple. Spend 1 hour a day on my book proposal so I can send it out later in the series, and finally pursue my dream of becoming a published author. But then the doubts hit. What if my book isn't good enough? Do people even read dystopias like mine anymore? Or worse, will AI finish it before I do? And then my body joined in two. My throat hurts, as if it was hit by Jackie Chan several times. So, should I already quit now? I mean, if even the easiest pact feels this hard. When everything started feeling impossible, I started to wonder, how do people keep going when the odds stack against them? So I reached out to someone who finished the biggest pact I've ever heard of. Meet Mac, a very good dog from England. Just kidding, I mean the man next to him, Gary McKee. Some people call Gary the Marathon Man. Why? Because he completed a massive pact. In 2022, he ran 365 marathons in 365 days for a good cause. He raised over £1 million for cancer charities, all while working a full-time job, raising 3 kids and walking a very cute dog. He made it through illness, brutal weather, and more than a few naysayers. So, how did he do it? And what can we learn from him so we can build something incredible too? Time for Science Meets Story, where we mix research with real life. This time, 5 lessons from the Marathon Man. Quick note:
these lessons aren't a rule book. They're more like a store. You decide what you put in your cart. Not everything fits everybody.
To understand how Gary pulled this off and what we can learn from it, we need to go back in time for a moment. Because obviously, Gary didn't just wake up one morning and decided to run 365 marathons.
Suppose my story starts on the 23rd of June 1997. When I came home from work, my dad was sitting there in his usual chair and he had tears in his eyes and he said that he had cancer. I didn't want to mourn like we generally do. I wanted to get out there and I wanted to help other people who were being told the same news that we've been told. So I became a fundraiser for Macmillan Cancer Support.
Thankfully, Gary's father survived the cancer. Years later, he passed away from another illness. But Gary kept running, and with pain turning into purpose, he kept leveling up. Lesson 1. Start with what's achievable, then level up. If your first reaction to Gary's pact is something like, I could never do something like this, well, maybe not yet, but Gary once couldn't either. Before taking on his massive pact, he'd already been running for years, taking on all kinds of adventures and building up slowly.
When we think about how I'd done things previously, so I'd done 100, I'd done 110, It's learning from those experiences and putting them into practice to streamline things and make them more effective.
Each time he learned, adjusted, and then leveled up, kind of like the tiny experiment mindset from last episode. And the people who ran with him did the same.
So once they'd achieved one objective, raise the bar and push themselves that little bit further.
Here's our builder tool. We already covered this in episode 1. Make tiny, achievable experiments, make pacts, and then take the data, adapt, and level up. Gary kept the big picture in mind, yet on a daily basis, he focused on taking the smallest possible step, even in his massive pact. And honestly, that's what helped me stick to my first pact too. I didn't focus on publishing the whole book, just on showing up for that 1 hour for that 1 month. I started small too. But even when you start small, it still can get hard. So, solve problems, not pity parties. You might be wondering, did Gary ever have to stop? I mean, over a full year you get sick and life happens, right? Well, yeah.
Picked up an injury 7 months in, a hamstring injury. I've never experienced pain like that before.
He went to the hospital. But did it stop him?
If there'd have been something more sinister, then that would have been a different story. But I wanted to get out of that hospital and get back on the track because I had a job to do.
He still finished the marathon that day, just at a slower pace. And that wasn't the only challenge.
The biggest challenge was managing work.
But instead of making excuses, Gary found a workaround.
Don't say anything that's going to stop you as a red light to stop you. See it as something to pause and think about, what do I need to do to get around this?
He walked when he couldn't run. He used all his leave days. And he managed his body every single day.
It's having the will to get to the end. If you look for a way, you'll find one. If you look for an excuse, you'll find one of those as well.
Gary shared one practical tool with me that he uses himself to stay solution focused.
The 5 whys.
Here's how it works. When something goes wrong or you feel stuck, ask yourself,
Why?
Answer it, then ask
Why?
again.
And you just keep saying why.
5 times total. Each why takes you 1 layer deeper until you stop treating the symptom and uncover the root cause. Maybe it's not about not having enough time. Maybe the real problem is that you're afraid of failing, so you procrastinate to protect yourself. Once you know the real reason you're stuck, you can finally solve the real problem, like facing your fear of failure. After Gary made that point, something in me shifted. Not because the doubt disappeared, but because I realized it isn't a stop sign. I'm ready to be rejected like several times. But hard moments are part of the process, and instead of letting them stop me, I have to learn how to move through them. Because I'd regret not trying far more than trying and failing. So I kept showing up every single day. I only need one agency who believes in my story. And even if there isn't one, I'll find another way. And just to be clear, this isn't about glorifying toxic productivity or going through pain at all costs. Of course, there are moments when the best thing you can do is pause, or even get professional help. Rest matters. Listening to your body matters. This is about choosing a solution-focused mindset when you genuinely still have the capacity to continue.
And there may be occasions where you're prevented from doing that for whatever reason it might be. And there's no shame in it. It's not failure, it's learning.
And speaking of learning, I learned. Because before we get into the next lesson, I need to tell you about this month's mess.
Who made that mess? You did, Kate.
Where we learn from the mess-ups and try again anyway. Like, do you think that more people... Oh. Bye. Gary dropped out of the call.
What?
Not once, but twice.
One more time.
He just fell out. And the second time, I forgot to hit record.
Oh, we're back.
Yes, I had 2 backup cameras. No, neither of them cooperated. One didn't record anything and the other stopped halfway through. Let's just say this wasn't the only interview in this episode where I forgot to hit record.
It's such an amateur mistake on my side, but I can't believe this, but I didn't press record.
Oh no.
So I kind of had a practical lesson inside a lesson. Let's call it bonus lesson 3, fail forward. Because Gary doesn't just run through hard times, he records them.
I kept a diary and I recorded those difficult times by writing them down. So I could always go back to them.
He kind of kept learning logs. Kind of like the data section on our pact sheet that you can still find in the description box. Here's our builder tool. Own your mistakes, record them and find the patterns. Revisit what you learned and use it the next time. My latest log entry:
Press record.
but when everything else goes wrong, one thing has to stay right: your reasons. Cause over clout. Gary accomplished something unbelievable. He could have chased the spotlight, but the only attention he cared about was the one that supported his cause, not his ego.
I tend not to go to award ceremonies. I don't like it doesn't sit right.
Gary wasn't chasing fame or applause. He was motivated by love and a deep desire to help others.
Records for DJs. I'm no DJ. I'm a fundraiser, and I use the fundraising as a vehicle to bring in the money that we need to support people who are going through a terrible time. So it probably, if my dad hadn't have passed away, it wouldn't have happened.
Psychologist Dr. Pippa Grange calls this winning deep. Doing something for meaning, not medals. For soul and service, not status. The opposite, winning shallow. When fear, ego, or comparison drive your actions. We all know the stories. Trophies, fans, millions, and those people still feel empty. But deep reasons, they carry you through the hard days. And Gary is a powerful example of that.
The juggle was balancing a lifestyle of having 3 children and a wife and a job, and going to work after I'd finished the marathons and feeling energized enough to get up and go again the following day. But when you think back to the reasons why we started, they always exceed the willingness to stop. I would write down right at the very beginning your reasons of why you want to do what you're doing. And then when you struggle on the hard days, go back to what you've wrote down.
Here's our next builder tool. So now, do you want to know if your reasons are truly deep or just pretending? Try this clarity test. Would this still matter to me if no one ever praised me for it? If the answer is yes, then you've probably found winning deep. Sure, Gary needed an audience to raise money, but the applause was a tool, not the fuel. Your deep why doesn't have to be as huge or heroic as Gary's. It could be something like reclaiming your creativity, or just proving to yourself that you can follow through. And if you want a reason that reaches beyond yourself, the kind that carried Gary through 365 days, try this. What breaks your heart enough that you'd want to help change it, even just a little? You don't need a perfect purpose, just an honest and deep reason. Your why can start small and grow as you grow. I realized something important. For me, cause has always mattered more than clout. I've been writing stories for as long as I can remember, not to chase fame or money, but because I love creating worlds and sharing them with other people. And with Dreambuilder Diaries, it's the same. It genuinely breaks my heart that there are so many crushed creatives, sensitive, big-hearted people who feel stuck or scared and don't allow themselves to live and create from a full heart. I want to help change that, even just a little. And honestly, I'd do this even if there were no money and no praise. But even the strongest reasons need support, because together everyone achieves more. Gary may have been the one running the miles, but he didn't do it alone. His family supported him through the entire year, and every single day people joined him on the road. Some ran a few steps, some ran entire marathons. Others helped behind the scenes, delivering meals so he didn't have to cook after running. Part of that was accountability. Gary didn't want to let people down, especially the ones who donated and believed in him.
When you're doing something for somebody else, you don't want to stop and let them down. So if I'd finished halfway through, what about all the money that's gone onto my page that I haven't delivered on? You know, I would feel absolutely terrible, as if I'd conned people. And that was never going to be the case.
And science backs him up. Research shows you're about 65% more likely to follow through when someone else knows about your pact. And with regular check-ins, that number rises to around 95. But it wasn't just about accountability. The real engine behind Gary's success, the community itself.
So the community, absolutely integral to everything that I've done. And it's about having the right people around you, because it leaves me to focus on what I'm strong at and other people, what their strengths are. And we put it all together, another like links in a chain. We all provide a link.
And Gary didn't just accept help, he created momentum for others too.
I've done a daily video, it was a motivational video, and it gave people an opportunity to take on their own challenges.
Like his sons, who followed in his footsteps. In 2026, his son Beau will run 100 marathons in 100 days and the London Marathon with Gary in support of hospice at home. If you want to support them, which I really encourage you to do, you can find all the information and the donation links and everything in the description below. Here's our practical takeaway. Not everyone has a massive support system, flexible work hours, or hot meals waiting on the porch. But it's about doing the best with what you are capable of. That's what Gary did too.
Whatever I've done has been what I've been capable of doing.
Please don't use Gary's story to feel bad about yourself, to compare yourself to him, or to shrink yourself. Use it to ignite your own version of effort. But here's one thing everyone can do. Find one person to share your pact with. Just one person. And if you don't have that person yet, you do now. Just send me your pact. You can find my mail and contacts in the description below. And as a huge surprise to me, one person did already send their pact. This is what Philip wrote. Hi Svenny, thanks for this video. I really liked it. It was funny, entertaining, and it inspired me to start my own little challenge. I've decided to write a short story on Threads every day for 1 month. Thank you very much for your inspiration. Thank you so much, Philip, for being the first person to send me their pact. I will definitely check in with your pact. This honestly means so much to me. Not just because he texted me that he started writing again after a long pause, but also because it shows that this isn't just my journey and my experiment anymore. It's starting to become ours. And like Gary, I want to use the power of community for something bigger than me. Dreambuilder Deeds, where small deeds make big dreams possible. Dreambuilder Diaries was never supposed to be just about my dream. I want this series to help people, and I genuinely want to help make this world a more compassionate and creative and courageous place. After talking to Gary, something in me clicked. He said that everyone has a cancer story. And I think he's right. If not in your immediate family, then in someone you know. I have several in mind. I never met my grandmother because she died from cancer when my mom was still a child. So supporting Gary in his mission and supporting people in the worst time of their lives feels right now. So I've decided I want to support the cause that Gary supported, Macmillan Cancer Support. I researched Macmillan to find out what our small community could do and what difference we could make. And I wanted to share the perspective of someone who received support from Macmillan. And I found Kimberly, who was supported by Macmillan during her cancer journey. She's 28 years old and had 5 cancer diagnoses, the first when she was still a child. But that's not how she wants to be known.
But I've always wanted to be known for more than that. I want to be known of how you can deal and thrive with all of that and just, make the most and thrive alongside the challenges.
And thrive she did, even through some of the hardest moments of her life. For some of them, she had the help of Macmillan. That meant that she had her clinical nurse specialist Lisa, who was always there when she needed support.
And it's made a real difference because having that key contact helped me navigate how I felt and how she was able to support me through those really difficult times. And even when I was just upset and crying on the phone.
That's what donations make possible. Not just treatment, but human support. The kind you need when your mind is racing, when you're scared, when you don't know what comes next. Macmillan helped her feel less alone, less lost, and the support was practical too. For example, after treatment, when Kimberly had lost a lot of weight, Macmillan gave her a grand voucher to buy some new clothes.
I guess that helps with a lot of things as well because you're always trying to reform on your identity around cancer and stuff.
And it didn't just help her through the pain, it inspired her to give something back. Kimberly went on to organize 2 fundraising galas, one of them for Macmillan, raising money for the same kind of support she once received.
When I fundraised, I got multiple examples sent by the charity of how the amount I raised helped with what they do.
She even won the Regional Pride of Britain Award for her outstanding fundraising. And when I asked her what she'd say to people who wonder whether their donation could really make a difference, she said this.
What people need to remember is that even the teeny tiniest of donations is going to add up with how that charity disperses the money, and that's just directly going to help change and support someone's life.
Even $1 or €1 might be someone's calm voice on the other end of the phone, and maybe the start of their revival. Because even though illness is still a part of Kimberly's journey, everything she's fought through helped shape who she is today. A passionate dancer, a patient advocate, a young woman with big dreams. And I think her story shows that even small good deeds can change someone's world. And what did we learn from Gary? Start with what's achievable, then level up. So here's another tiny experiment. Can we raise at least $1,000 for Macmillan over the course of this year? As Gary says,
You'll never regret being kind, because the reasons you're being kind, regardless of the outcome, the reasons that you've done it were the right reasons to begin with.
If you'd like to help, you can find the donation link in the description below. And speaking of Gary, he celebrated the end of his pact in the most Gary way possible.
A celebration for me, after 365, was a few beers. I haven't had a beer for over a year.
And it's time for us to celebrate too. In the monthly morph, where we celebrate our growth and the small metamorphoses along the way. Despite the setbacks, I did it. I've got my list of literary agencies, I finished the pact. So later in the series, I can and will send out my book proposal and build on my dream of becoming an author. I know the road ahead is probably going to be hard. There will be rejections and setbacks, and I still have many doubts. But with all of Gary's wise words in our metaphorical backpack, I'm ready to persist. Because I'm choosing cause over clout and persistence over perfection. I may not be running physical marathons, but I'm ready for the long run. What about you? And speaking of celebrating growth, uploading episode 1 was a metamorphosis moment for me too. I was terrified, but I did it. And I celebrated by ordering 2 Indian dishes instead of 1. We still have a full year ahead of us, and a lot can change in 12 months.
And I also watched people over those 12 months grow in themselves, do things that they didn't think possible, become different people, become better people. And it was incredible to watch.
And like the seasons, we're just getting ready to let go and plant something new. I just want to say a huge and honest and heartfelt thank you to Gary for being the first ever interview partner on this series. And also a big, huge, honest, heartfelt thank you to Kimberly for sharing such a personal part of your journey. All of this honestly truly means the world. And a huge thank you to everyone who is watching, everyone who supports me. This is still the beginning, but it means so much to me that you're here, that you're part of this, and that we can build this together. So now I'm ready to finish my book proposal, but I'm not prepared to be scared. Because the thing still holding me back? Fear. And I think that's what I need to let go of next. It's time to face my fears in the next episodes.